And we're back, another day, another warm-up, another workout. Let's get after it. Definitely do not claim to be a yogi, but I do appreciate some nice flow as a part of a warm-up from time to time. So stick along with me, even if you're not super versed in yoga, that's fine, neither am I, but I do have enough tricks up my sleeve to get us warm, and we'll be doing most of our warm-up today on the ground. So if you have a yoga mat or if you have a carpeted area, now is the time to get there. We're going to be starting this off in what better way than our traditional plank. We're going to be stepping back into our plank position, noticing my shoulder, my elbow, my wrists are all in line. I'm trying to keep my back nice and flat. If you struggle with balance, we can widen our stance out. We can even drop to our knees if we would like. Just taking a nice plank position. Again, taking some deep breaths as we go through this. Taking time to warm up is beautiful. We get our body ready to go. That way, when you get into the main portion of your workout today, you don't have to worry about easing into things. You already are nice and warm, and you can make the most out of each and every set and each and every rep. We're going to be taking our chest halfway to the ground. We'll flip our toes over, and we're going to press up into that upward facing dog or cobra. Again, if you happen to be much more of a yogi than I am, if I mess up any of these poses, please let me know. Don't hold it against me. Just follow along with what I've got going on. Again, I know enough to get us nice and warm, but yoga is not a huge background of mine. We're going to flip our toes back over. We're going to send our hips up in a downward facing dog, pedaling our feet back and forth a few times. We return back into our high plank. We're going to speed that rotation up just a little bit. So chest comes halfway to the ground. We're holding momentarily, flipping our toes, pressing our chest up again into that upward facing dog / cobra. Flipping the toes over once again, getting into downward facing dog, pedaling our feet back and forth. By now, you might be feeling this in the shoulders a little bit already. It's fantastic. Returning back into our plank position. We'll be going through that one more time. Chest halfway down, flip your toes, press up, and send your hips up nice and high, pedaling our feet back and forth a couple of times. From here, we'll be stepping our right foot to the outside of our right hand. That back knee can drop down to the ground. Now myself, my hands on the ground, I get a pretty good stretch. Some of you may have the ability to reach your forearms all the way to the ground. Fantastic, more power to you, but I'm just not quite there yet. So you can work that, getting a little bit lower if you can. If you happen to be like me and having your hands on the ground does the trick, that's good too. As long as you're getting a stretch, I'm happy. And we'll be stepping back into that high plank. We'll be going through that flow one more time. So our chest halfway to the ground, flipping, pressing up, sending the hips into our downward facing dog, and then stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand. If you happen to go the opposite direction, that's fine. All of this stuff will even out by the time we finish our warm-up today. As we're sinking down in deep, we should be feeling this nice and cozy, kind of where the hamstring and the glutes meet. This is a great stretch. It's also going to get us nice and ready for our workout today. Be holding here. And we'll be stepping back into high plank. We can always go a little bit wider of a stance. We're just be starting with some slow shoulder taps, trying to keep your hips square. We don't want them way up in the air, and we definitely don't want them sagging down either. So keeping them in line, going back and forth. If you're going through this and you're sick of hearing me talk and breathe the whole time, make sure you get some music on in the background. It's a good way to still stick along with me, but get a music of your choice. All right, from here, we're going to drop down onto our knees. A little bit of a stretch. It's our child's pose. It's a great stretch for overhead mobility. We're going to be bringing our knees a little bit wider, sitting back towards our heels, reaching your hands out. Again, kind of just sticking along here with me the best you can. If some of these stretches feel better, you can hang out there a little bit longer. Feel free to pause me. If some of them are giving you a hard time, just ease off of them. This should not be painful by any means. We'll be walking our hands over to the right side. As you do that, you're going to feel a little bit more of a stretch down the left side of your body. Especially if you have a hard time with shoulder mobility or a hard time pressing up overhead. I really, really like this stretch because it opens up through our lats, which helps give us a little bit better mobility up overhead. Then we'll walk our hands over to the other side. Doing that same thing, feeling a good stretch on the right side of your body. Taking some deep breaths. And walking hands back over to the middle. We're going to find ourselves onto our backside. We'll be warming up the core a little bit. So as we go through this, we'll be starting with a dead bug or a hollow hold position. That is going to start with our knees bent. We're just going to be reaching out towards your toes. Be breathing here. This warm up, it's not super fast. You probably won't find yourself really, really sweaty after it, but we get some amazing activation, and it's still a great way to get set for your workout today. If you find yourself shaking, just keep on breathing. Take 3 more breaths. Here's 1. 2 more breaths. 2. 3. Relaxing those feet on down, turning that into our traditional sit-up. Hands can touch overhead. We're going to sit up all the way through. We can also go into a crunch if that feels more comfortable for you. Bringing our hands to the outside of our ears, crunching our chest up towards your knees. Again, that sit-up, sitting up all the way through. We'll take 3 more of those. Here's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to roll back on over. We're going to get back into that plank position, spending just a little bit more time on the upper body. We're going to find our plank position. From here, we're going to open up into side plank. So stacking our joints, noticing a straight line all the way from my top hand down to my bottom hand. Now, looking for that extra challenge, if you would like, we can take the left foot up and raise into star plank. This is a really tough one for me, so I'm going to bring that back down into a traditional side plank. But if star plank is a jam for you, stick with it. We're holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going back into our plank, taking 2 breaths in plank. On that second breath, we'll be opening up to the other side. I'll still face the camera. I won't make you stare at my backside, but you can go whatever direction you want. Can take some deep breaths here. If you've got it, let's bring that into that star plank. Again, that's a really tough one for me, so I'm going to bring that back down into side plank. More power to you if you've got that ability to hang out in star plank. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Going ahead back into plank, going through a couple more of our flows. So that high plank. Going down, chest halfway to the ground, flipping your toes, pressing the chest up, sending the hips up nice and high, pedaling back and forth for 4, 3, 2, 1. Returning our hips back into high plank. Chest halfway down, flip your toes, press up, feeling a really good stretch. Sending the hips up high, same thing, pedaling those feet back and forth. Returning to our plank, adding in a mountain climber variation, but really slow. Bringing your knees up towards your chest. Activating through your core. Feeling this in the shoulders for sure as well. If you need to drop down at any time, we drop down, we shake it out, we come back in. Let's pick up that speed on the mountain climber just a little bit. A little bit faster. And bringing that full speed for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can drop it down, shake those arms out. I hope you've got a little bit of blood flowing. Hope that internal temperature is coming up. We've got a little sweat going as well. You've got an awesome workout in store for you today. Make the most of every rep, every round. Again, keep consistent. Come back day after day. That is where all the results will happen. That's the magic to all of this. Enjoy.